The IMF is the one telling us. Will the government now listen to the IMF? It looks like you have no option. You have to listen to the IMF.
Definitely, because
But they did have to take the IMF.
absolutely not. And I think it has been said time without number that the general policy, the free SHS, is not what Ghanaians are opposed to. What a fantastic idea that all the citizens can go through senior high school without having to pay a penny. But that is not the reality. That is not what was envisioned.
No.
You say it all the time. William tells us all the time, parents are still paying.
We're paying.
Still
We're
paying.
Look, there's a Lady of Lords, some school in Navrongo, where the girls, is a girls' school, and the girls were asking for food. They were asking for food, because all through the week, the previous week, they had been served just rice-based meals, and they were asking that the quality of even that those rice-based meals be improved, and now they're asking for other staples because they can't eat rice all through.
Man must not live by rice alone.
Felicity Ahafianyo is joining us with the weather updates. Felicity, good morning. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Good morning, Johnny. Thanks for reaching out to us always.
Great. Now, what should we be expecting? Yesterday, we saw the clouds gather, but I think it was a flash in the pan. It ran away. Are we to expect the rain or the cloud or something that looks like it today?
Yeah, today for most of us along the coast, we'll have mostly cloudy weather, and then we'll have the sun will also flash us through. We expect some rain. We are having 40% chance of rain in the afternoon over Greater Accra, Central Western region. And then later, Volta region, Oti region, Ashanti Eastern will also have having a moderate chance. That's around 60% for them. Actually, there is a weak storm currently in Nigeria. We expect it to engulf us in 8 hours from now. So late afternoon to the evening hours, we expect that system to affect those of us over the eastern flank. But Greater Accra, yes, we are having some troughs over us that will bring in the rain. So we should expect cloudy weather late now till afternoon with the little sunshine. Then the rain clouds will come on board. In terms of the temperatures for today, we are expecting around 32 for the coastal strip, 34, 35 for the middle sector. Those of us over the northern sector, we expect temperatures around 35 to 38 degrees Celsius. By evening, upper west region will be engulfed in rain and thunder. Likewise, those of us in the Tamale, END area.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. But before you go, we're voting in Kumawu today. Does it look good in terms of the weather outlook?
Actually, I've not taken kino, but the storm will definitely affect them. So in the afternoon, they should expect rain showers over there.
All right. Thank you so much, Felicity Ahafianyo, joining us now. We're grateful that you could give us this update. So it's going to be cool, albeit, yeah. Let's begin from 3news.com. And an Accra-bound British Airways flight diverts to Barcelona to save a sick passenger. Also, I don't think I attacked medical. In fact, I even gave him support. Well, okay. Police release security measures for Kumawu by-elections. And mother loses child, one injured after building collapses during rainstorm in Koforidia. IGP to meet political parties today ahead of Tuesday Kumawu by-election. That was yesterday. GBC workers up in arms with fair wages directive to the accountant general to stop paying certain allowances that they thought were undeserved, and they are not happy. About 2 million Ghana cedis as unearned salaries. Ghana is restructuring internal audit function to be more responsive. And why are caterers on strike if envelope of school feeding is not empty? That's what Clement Park is asking. His MP for Bolsa South is also the deputy ranking member on the education committee. IGP in Kumawu to assess security preparedness ahead of the by-elections. What do you have there?
All right, I've got the Ghanaian Times as the first paper to review. 2 jailed, 10 years for robbing students. Also quite worrying on the front page. No funds for DACF, District Assembly Common Fund, for 2 years. Finance Ministry fails to transfer 5% oil revenue. It's captured in page 12. We'll get into it as we progress. Kumewu by-election, Peace Council urges EC to exhibit professionalism. COVID-19 pandemic, Ghana lifts restrictions at ports of entry. Also captured on page 12. We'll get into that. The ABC newspaper this morning has this to say. NPP victory 2024 starts today in Kumewu. President Akufo-Addo is pictured here, and that's what he has to say. He says the breaking of the 8, it starts from today. All eyes on Kumewu, so do stick with us all throughout the day. Ghana CEO Summit and Expo. Samuel Uku is CEO of the year, and Cocoa Board set record straight. Bankrupt Cocoa Board abruptly sacks officers. They're responding to that story. The business analyst says economic activity mixed as policy rate maintained at 29.5%. Banks recover from DDEP is what the story says. Pensioner bondholders threaten to resume picketing at the Finance Ministry. I was listening to Lawyer Martin People speak on Saturday on the key points, and he says whilst the coupons have been paid, the interest, there are others who are waiting to be paid the principal, and has not come.
That's right.
So if they're picketing and you're wondering why, government still hasn't fulfilled their obligations.
And that's because people are not... They don't trust government anymore. Bonds used to be the safest of instruments where you could put your money and know that, well, your money will be safe and you'll be paid. But now we're getting all these haircuts and promise and fail and all of that. If people have gotten the dividends or the benefit of their bonds and the interest that the 77-day extension without their consent that was they demanded and they got, they now want to go and take their monies because they don't want any surprises and shocks.
Yes, they want to ensure that they can create their own financial path. Leaving it in the hands of government hasn't proved very fruitful. But also on the front page of the business analyst, Kumewu by-election, adequate measures in place to maintain law and order. And finally, the Finder newspaper, Samuel Uku wins overall best public sector CEO award for 2022. And we face deeper issues beyond mere IMF dictated fiscal discipline. And this is true. I recall last week when I was critiquing the NDC's communique, and I said, well, why are they scaremongering? Why do they want us to know that the consequences will be biting? And then we got that 125 page or 127 page IMF booklet detailing the stipulations, and I thought to myself, actually that is why they issued that communique. Tariffs going to be going up every quarter. We can't even see top now as it is, and I'm thinking we should expect more increases. Yes, it's going to be biting, but we'll talk about that, of course, as we progress. E-Levy rakes in 861.47 million in 11 months. Inflows drop in 2023 due to rate review of 1%. And Bank of Ghana gives banks 3 years to rebuild capital buffers.
Well, on the front page of the Inquisitor, it says special edition celebrating unique and versatile Napo on his birthday. Happy birthday to him. 7th K-Balm National Arm Wrestling Championship held, and epistles of a police officer growing dislike for IGP within Ghana Police Service. This is not the first time this is coming up. Kumewu by-election today. Samuel Uku is the best public sector CEO, while his friends at Georg are singing a different tune. Daily Graphic this morning. Today's by-election, Kumewu precursor to 2024 polls. Galamsey surges in election years, and former FC executive director points out 2 babies die over hospital power cuts, 3 others in critical condition. ICAG begins project to tackle public waste. And on the front page of the Daily Guide, IMF cash bolsters Ghana's overseas reserves. We remember Dumso Baumia pokes the NDC. Enim tipped to win Kumewu seat, and Parliament resumes June sit. Another by-election looms. Piak Lord's government's use of oil cash. That's what we have here on the front page of the dailies here. Let's begin from page 4 and 7 of the Inquisitor newspaper. And here it talks about a certain growing dislike for the Inspector General of Police. I've heard a few rumors regarding this, but let's hear what the policeman says. It was all but joy and merriment when that greeted the appointment of the current IGP, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, within the rank and file of the Ghana Police Service. It was amazing and unimaginable. It was overwhelming that nobody was ready to listen to any political or even sociological analysis to hell then. As a student of anthropology, I needed just one step to help me pass my judgment on our new leader. So the joy remained pessimist. Lesson from experience I had with IGP retired. The service ended up being popular for a number of interdictions than any other thing. This is not to discount the visibility, policing and corruption wristband. Days passed before the next night IGP Dr. Akufu-Dampare was confirmed. But wait, before his announcement was over, he had made his reshuffle and deployment at the top tier of the service. These kinds of shuffling of schedule, shadow officers, transfers, a routine or call ritual transfers, and almost every new IG does. So soon after this, I knew that it was just a new wine in an old bottle or worse. I'm not a doomsayer. That's what quite long. It goes on to reference from IGPs Mr. Peter Nanfuri, Mr. Usun Siam, Mr. Patrick A. Champon within the bracket. For brevity, excuse me, in the remaining class. I don't get the head and tail of this one. Trust me. I don't get the head and tail of this one.
In some world.
Yeah. The first 4 paragraphs, didn't say anything to me. It won't. It won't say anything to me.
All right. Shall we talk money?
Yes, please. Let's talk money because this one was
well, no funds for DACF for 2 years. Finance Ministry fails to transfer 5% oil revenue. Now, for 2 consecutive years, the Ministry of Finance has failed to transfer 5% of the annual budget funding amount of the country's oil revenue to the District Assembly Common Fund, DACF, as required by law. The Supreme Court, in the case of Bodo and another versus Attorney General, in 2019 ruled that the ministry should release the allocation to the DACF for development projects at the local level. However, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, reports on the management and use of petroleum revenues revealed that the ministry paid 1.74% of the fund in 2021 and 2.39% in 2022. At a media workshop in Keta in the Volta region on Saturday, the vice chairman of PIAC, Nasir Alpha Mohammed, said the situation was affecting progress of development projects in the assemblies. Now, the 2-day training organized by the committee and the German Development Corporation, GIZ, was meant to deepen the understanding of members of the Parliament Press Corps and the Institute of Financial and Economic Journalists, IFEJ, on oil revenue management and use. So there we have it, captured in the center spread. The money's just not paid to the fund.
But these are monies that are supposed to be generated, immediately. So you make a purchase, VAT is is deducted, Get Fund is deducted. Now we don't pay road tolls, but all the monies that we generate, 5% of it is supposed to go into these things. So the monies are deducted from sources. I mean, taxes and everything else put together, 5% of it. Why is it becoming difficult for the finance minister to make such statutory payments? And there I say that the state-owned enterprises are learning from the finance ministry, because in the last week I have demonstrated with official communication from the Ghana Revenue Authority, from SNIT, from the Metropolitan Insurance, all saying that, look, tier 3 contributions that have been deducted have not been paid. Taxes that were deducted on behalf of GRA have not been paid to the tune of over 200 million. And then SNIT contributions are not being paid. I mean, how lawless can we get in this country? District Assembly Common Fund. And you know, these District Assembly Common Fund, the ones that you use, persons living with disability have their 3% in them. You have children who can't pay fees. You have, projects or developments in the communities that, these assemblies need. And we pay property rates. We pay business operation permit. We pay all the things that assembly come chasing. Sometimes with penalty if you default a bit. So the monies are supposed to be there. How the hell did we not have, the money to pay? And we're just explaining it. Remember that when the 80 or so MPs calls for the head of Mr. Ken Oforiatta and Chelsea Dubois, Dr. Chelsea Dubois, one of the things that they said was that their District Assembly Common Fund had not been paid. In fact, in the MP's Common Fund.
That's right.
It was in arrears up to about 4 or 5 quarters. Right after that,
it was paid.
It was paid. So it means that the money is there, but our Bible quoting finance minister who says that we should not be focusing on the past. When he went to IMF, why didn't he tell them not to focus on the past? He has suddenly gotten the money. He's back here telling us we should not focus on the past. But the past is what will guide us to know what's happening in the future.
Absolutely.
So the past is that we have known in this country that at some point, maybe a quarter, maybe 2, but for a whole year and more, for District Assembly Common Fund, MP's Common Fund, set statutory payments that are deducted and must be paid on time because of the effect it has. You have not done that, and you're telling people to not to focus on the past. Meanwhile, we have persons living with disability who would need this to survive.
That's right.
So even the vulnerable, the most vulnerable, we're taking them for granted.
And constitutionally, that's what government has to do. Government has to provide adequate means of livelihood for the citizenry. It's in our constitution. So to not disperse the funds to the District Assembly Common Fund actually goes against the constitution. I don't know where the monies that don't go to the fund, where they go to. In time past, we found it convenient to go and take monies to do projects that are unnecessary. So when the finance minister says don't focus on the past, how can we not? When it's the past that is informing our present, it's the past that is going to wreck or has wrecked our future. What does it mean?
William, good morning.
Good morning.
District Assembly Common Fund.
So it's part of the decisions that the people of Kumewu will make this morning. Because the kind of people that we vote for will indicate the kind of governance we get.
Right.
And yesterday, the Republicans were meeting the president the president of the United States in the White House. And some of the discussions that came up was how the expenditure of the government was going. You see, because at the end of the day, how much you make the revenue is as important as how you spend the money. So if we draw a budget and we put in all these statutory payments in the budget, and we know that these are the things that will make the vulnerable survive, because the Common Fund has some 2% for the disabled.
3, actually.
3% for the disabled. 3% for the
3%.
disabled.
It used to be 2, and then they push it up to 3.
3% for the disabled, a certain percentage for infrastructure, and sanitation and so on. So if we have all that in the budget, and you are spending outside what you put before the people in Parliament, then these issues that we are discussing will come up. That is why it's important that we keep the government on its toes in respect of how it spends the money. You see, the expenditure is what has caused us all these problems. Because it will lead to borrowing. Why are you borrowing? You're borrowing because you're not living within your means.
Yeah.
And if you're borrowing to do business as a government, you would know that you have to do business that will give you, if you like, short to medium term returns. If you're going to do long-term projects, it should be something that will hit your fiscal space so much to make it so tight that you can't even go around there. You have to go and borrow. So these are simple. And as the Republican man was saying, I've forgotten his name. He was saying that, look, it is just like home management, like we always say.
Right. That's
It is
right.
just like corporate management. You manage your home in such a way that you don't go borrowing all the time.
No.
You know what I mean? So if you take the budget figures that you put before Parliament, you look at your revenue over the years, you should be able to make projections. If those projections are not coming, then you have to change the way you spend.
But you see, the most painful thing is where the parliamentarians are the ones who approve these things. They see that, Charlie, the kwacha is there. And then when it gets to their turn to get some to do something small. I mean, I was listening to the Honorable Baswas, the late Baswas' brother, and he was bitter, very bitter near tears that, look, if the roads that are now being constructed in Kumewu had actually been constructed then when his brother was there, that pressure would not have been on him, because the people then assumed that he wasn't doing anything at all.
Exactly.
Suddenly he dies and everything is being fixed, including even the roads that lead into Kumewu. Aside the town roads, the main road that leads to Kumewu, and this man has spoken about it, has said it too many times. Suddenly he dies and it's done.
And so somebody was saying from Kumewu yesterday that even the road to his farm was being done. And yes, he said it on radio.
Wow.
If it's not true, I haven't been there. I know what I heard.
But he said it on radio.
I don't know whether he said it out of enthusiasm or just fanaticism or what. But what I'm saying is that the Kumewu roads that are being done now, are they within budget? Were they budgeted for?
Yes. It's a good question to ask. Yeah.
So if they were not budgeted for, then we would have issues because we are not being disciplined in the expenditure like we're talking about.
And that is what has brought us here.
Yes, when the former MP for Iowa Wogon, West Wogon, when he passed, all the roads around Abilimpe,
Jowulu, yes,
they were done. The same way.
Area.
They were same. I went there one day. The whole place was black. Black
with a bit of white.
And exactly. And the joke is going on is now that when your MP dies before they come in to fix the roads.
And in fact, a few callers said that yesterday. Is that what must happen before
but
they
it's a dangerous
see?
deal.
Very dangerous.
You know where I live. It's crazy. The road is just bad. And just coming to work is work for me every morning.
Stress.
Yeah.
Coming to work every morning is work. You understand? So if we don't get MPs like PC Apio Furi and the late Barry and those people who were doing something in parliament, not just go and sit and don't do anything. That's where we are. So today's election, people should look at individuals who will go there and do something for Mother Ghana because it affects all of us.
It does appear that fanaticism has rather taken center stage. Because if you will, shall I say, chipping yourself to be given 2 cups of rice, and that is what will inform where your votes will go, that's an insult actually. It's an insult. It's a big insult. And you see, the people in many of the constituencies in this country are not asking for handouts. They're asking for basic things. Fix my road. This school under tree, solve it so my kids can go to school. And this our basic hospital, very basic things. I don't know why it's so difficult for our leaders to appreciate these things and do them for the people.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You see, it is the kind of individual. I mean, we can't say all the politicians are not nationalistic in their thinking and what they do. I've mentioned names. I mean, there have been some MPs who've really gone inside that house and done things to push government. Look at what Okujeto Ablakwa is doing. He's just trying to protect the public purse. So
he's seen as enemy number one.
That's what it is. The state. I mean, as we sit here, people will tag us, but that's what it is. At the end of the day, if we go to the polls in Kumewu today, I'm saying these discussions that we're having, it isn't always that we'll come and sit here and do the jargons and the technicalities. Because at the end of the day, the wind blowing in Kumewu today will determine who wins. Or if the NDC is going to win or the MPP is going to win, it is the wind. But that is why the politicians are aware. That's why they are also pushing money. You see videos of people sharing rice and cloth and T-shirts. Why would that happen? And the police are there, they are looking. But
it is against the law.
Exactly what I'm saying. So the whole system is not working. So if we always come and sit on there, we give figures. And in our part of the world, the journalist or the expert or the politician will come and sit on radio or TV and give figures. Hey, this guy is sharp. We don't look at the qualitative side of things.
That's right.
Quanti.
Exactly. We give them, every year we give the numbers. And that's what IMF is telling us today. That in terms of enrollment, super.
Yes.
But learning
outcomes, which is the quality,
bad.
A poor policy that is
poor. Poverty stricken poor policy. Jesus Christ. Well, page 16 further confirms that all is not well because 2 babies died over hospital power cut. 3 others in critical condition. Sorry for Mohammed Fugo in Damongo. 2 babies have died, while 3 others are in critical condition at the St. Anne's Hospital in Damongo in the Savannah region following the disconnection of power supply to the facility by the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO. The newborn babies are said to have lost their lives due to the hospital's inability to test for compatible blood to transfuse them. The head of communications and clinical coordinator of the hospital, Dr. Akpedease Ahmed, who confirmed the incident, said the situation was biting hard on healthcare delivery because the hospital was the main referral facility in the area. He indicated that the hospital had also suspended deliveries and surgeries due to the power disconnection. We lost a baby the first time they disconnected the hospital, and the second time we lost another. As we speak, there is another one in critical condition, and the reason is that we couldn't transfuse blood to them, he noted.
And then they are supposed to be owing about 4 billion?
4 billion, yes.
4 million Ghana?
4 million, yes.
And okay, and IMF is telling us this morning that going forward, every quarter or so, they'll review.
Yes, the tariffs.
Okay,
yes.
So these are the issues. And this is supposed to be a Catholic hospital.
That's right. That's right.
So what has the government done there? If you go to the US, a lot of the hospitals are private.
Yeah.
That's right.
You understand? So if a private entity like the Catholic Church is doing such a yeoman's job in the area, what is the government
How are we
doing?
supporting them?
Exactly.
You see, so that in fact, under this government, the children of Ghana, what are we doing to them? Basic education problems. If you come to free SHS, problem.
The unpaid bills. The hospital is a member of the Christian Health Association of Ghana.
Exactly.
According to officials of the hospital, the government was responsible for the facility's electricity bills. For some time now, the facility had not paid the bills, leading to the accumulated debt. The outpatient department, which used to record not less than 80 patients daily, is now empty following the power cut. The Daily Graphic gathered. The accountant of the hospital, Rashid Damba, lamented that efforts to prevent the disconnection had been in vain, and we had done everything humanly possible to prevent them from disconnecting power, blah blah blah. They mentioned government owing them, and then they haven't paid them.
But as I sit here, there's no paper in front of you. It is Daily Graphic in front of you.
Yes.
When you read it, the first question I asked was,
what is government
doing?
Is government complicit?
This is Chag trying to help. It's you trying to do your do for you. And then what are you doing? And it is there. Clear. The government has failed. And this morning we've been saying that they've been failing to send out some of these payments.
That's right.
But it's the same government. We see the vice president with about how many branded pickups. You can even just donate. And this story came out last week when the doctors were warning that if nothing was done about the payment, we were going to have some dire consequences. And this is what lives have been lost.
Lives, children's lives.
This is not, they gave a warning last week.
Yeah.
Is the Minister of Health going to do anything about this? No. But if it was the son of a prominent person,
they would have been thrown out.
They'll go there.
Or heads would have rolled.
You know, I was just watching a story yesterday about a young lady who got missing 17 years ago. And they are still looking for the girl. You know, that's how the Western countries behave. If one child of America,
they are looking for it. We
yes,
killed.
Was it Madeleine McCann?
Exactly.
We
We've been looking for her.
We killed.
Yesterday the news came up again. 17 years. I watched another program that somebody died 28 years ago.
We're still looking for the person.
They found the killer. That is the blood of the American citizen for you.
In our case, we killed 2 children, put 3 in critical condition, and we are okay.
I'm saying that Madeleine McCann.
Yeah.
They are looking for, if you like, Google it today, this morning, just last night I was watching BBC.
Okay, we have to go.
Looking for the child, 17 years old.
Yes.
And here